Hi everybody, how are you guys today? I hope everyone's doing good. Today is Sunday, May 10th. It is Mother's Day. And so happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to my mother, who I'm sure will be watching this today at some point. I hope you all are safe and healthy and doing well. The weather's been beautiful here. I live on the west side of Washington State, on the west side of the mountains. And it's been super warm here for this time of year. Yesterday it was in the 80s. It's supposed to be in the 80s again today. I know the East Coast is getting pummeled right now. So hopefully that gets better soon. But yeah, this is remarkably nice weather for me here. It is supposed to come back down into the high 50s, low 60s, and rain this week. So got to take it while we can get it for sure. So usually I'm trying to do every 2 weeks, but I think I've actually gone for this time. Hit or miss right now. I am stitching, which I'll show you here shortly, which is good, but I am still working from home as well. So there's that dynamic thrown in. Found out this week that we'll probably be working from home for a while, regardless of what happens with our state opening back up. Like I said, I live in Washington, so our stay-at-home orders actually got pushed to the end of May now, with some very specific phase reopenings. And those phases will depend on scientific metrics to determine if it's safe to go to the next phase. We are currently at the beginning of phase 1. So if all goes well, they say that we'll be into phase 4 by mid-July. But that's if the metrics go well. And I know that numbers are slightly on the increase here even because people are getting out more. The weather's been good. You know, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, we've been out this for 2 months now, right at 2 months now, and I get it. I did get to see my parents about 10 days ago. They were supposed to come over and stay, but the decision was made not to do that for safety reasons. I have asthma, so I'm trying to limit my exposure for sure, and my parents are of the age that they need to be a little bit cautious as well. So we did meet in the middle. We live about 5.5 hours away from each other with no stops. And so we met as close to halfway as we could. I had some things for them. They are the part of the state they live in are currently still having a hard time finding things like toilet paper and that kind of thing. And I had been able to stock up on some toilet paper for them and some hand sanitizer and Clorox wipes, and they had some things for me. So we met about 10 days ago, about halfway, stayed our distance, but visited for a little while and then turned around and came home. So, but it was good to see them. It kind of gave me some gumption to move forward, if you will. So, but other than that, things are going pretty well here. It's definitely springtime lawn mowing season. So this is the first year in my house I haven't had to mow a lawn in over 10 years. So, and it's actually fine. I don't mind doing it. It takes me a little under an hour to take care of the yard. So it's not the end of the world. So anyway, but let's talk about some stitching. I've actually been on a roll. I've been doing quite a bit of stitching, and I blame that in part on Melissa Stitchermel. She had told me about we're both part of semi-stain stitchers on Facebook, and I believe the membership is closed on that group right now, but we were both previous members, and they are doing Stitchopoly in the month of May. And so she decided she was going to participate. And at the last minute, I was like, why not? I'm in. So I've been doing Stitchopoly for the month of May. I do not do Mania. I know a lot of YouTubers and cross stitchers are doing Mania, and it just doesn't. I tried last year and it doesn't work for me for whatever reason. I don't want to make a whole bunch of new starts. I tried where you fill in with your whips and then do a handful. Switching pieces every day is not something that works for me. I mean, if I work on something today and I have it done or whatever, and picking a new piece up tomorrow is fine, obviously, but I'm not one that is going to switch every day between pieces. It just doesn't work for me. So Stitch Mania, I don't participate in. But Stitchopoly is great because you can work on whatever you want. You just have to do the number of stitches, which is what kind of burns me out on magical stitches. I participate in magical stitches too, but sometimes the prompts just feel too nitty gritty. Is that a good way to put it? And and I know there's always the option of doing penalty stitches, and I'm stitching anyway, but sometimes I just get burned out on it. So the nice thing about Stitchopoly is that I can work on whatever I want, track my stitches, get the credit, get the rolls, whatever. So it works, and it's been working this week. So anyway, so we'll get to my stitching in a minute. I do have a little bit of a haul, although it feels old because it's been a while. But because I had actually already bought this on when I did my last Flosstube, but I hadn't gotten it yet. So I had participated in a Brandy's Friday night fight night fabric deal, and I had gotten 2 more pieces of fabric. Now that was over a month ago probably, and I haven't bought any since then. But this first piece is a 32 count Lugana. It's called Sunset, and I just loved it. It was so it's just a good color, so that's pretty good right there. And then the next one I got, the second piece I got, I actually already have one of these, but the size was intriguing on it. It was a 18 by 34 cut of this. It's a 32 count Joblin in Outback Jack. And so it just was an odd size and a pretty big piece. So I thought, I'm going to get that. So anyway, I really like the Outback Jack. It's a nice neutral. So anyway, so those are my 2 pieces of haul. I haven't actually been spending a ton of money on crafting stuff. And in fact, now I've been banned from it, buying anything from both Melissa and my mother. My birthday is at the end of June. So, I mean, we're still talking a good 6 to 7 weeks away, but I have been banned by my mother from buying craft supplies, period. And then Melissa and I have a deal that we don't buy cross-stitch stuff in our birthday months. So while she hasn't banned me quite yet, time is coming up, and I've been banned by my mother anyway. So no more craft haul for a while, not until my birthday anyway. So, and trust me, don't need it. That meme that's going around is so funny, the crafters, we've been preparing for this time for all of our life. It's so true. I've got enough paper crafting stash to supply a craft store. And then you don't even want to talk about my cross stitching stuff. So I'm fine. I don't need to buy anymore. So between the a haul that I got and some finishes that I've gotten, and a little bit of stimulus money that I added into my Stitch for Stash, I'm still in the negative, but I'm closer. I'm about $70 in the hole on my Stitch for Stash for 2020, which isn't bad. Hopefully May will show some more finishes for me, which will get me closer. I know some of the pieces I want to finish in the next month or 2 are pretty big chunks of Stitch for Stash money, so hopefully I'll get that. I did have some finishes, and ironically they all were this week. I have been on a roll with these little Lizzie Kate Flip It Bits the months, and if you follow me on Instagram, Wow Princess, then you've seen these. But I had started April just a little bit. I think I showed it in my last video. There's just a little line at the top and a little tip of the ear. But I picked it up again at the end of last weekend and finished it. So this is just on a piece of 28 or 32 count mystery linen. It's kind of crappy. The only change I made, these are all with the DMCs. They are coded or charted for, you know, fancy floss, if you will, but they also have a DMC conversion, and that's what I'm using. The only change I made was I made the little eyes on the bunny French knots. They were just supposed to be X's, but I made them French knots. So the snowman in January called for French knots. So I thought it was weird that the bunny eyes didn't, so I changed it. And then I already had May done, which I've shown that before. And so then I skipped to June. And that is DMC as called for. And then just last night, I finished August. And I really debated on August because that's the A is a brown. I think it's $8.98. And then the rest of August is $33.71. That's called for. I debated trying to find a brighter color, but I don't know. I decided it worked, so I left it. So anyway, that watermelon has so many stitches in it, but I think it turned out really cute. So yeah, so now I only have 4 of the months that aren't done: September, October, November, December. I'm going to take a break since I finished 3 of them this week. I'm going to take a break from them and pick them back up this summer sometime probably. That was, remember Stitcher Mill and I have our hashtag this year, the year of smalls and six. Is that our hashtag? Maybe I'll put it in the description. Year of small and six, I think. And our goal was to do 20 smalls and then do stitch 6 on our whips. And so those account for finishes or smalls 6, 7, and 8. So I have 8 of the 20 smalls done for the year, which is super exciting. So anyway, so it was a good week for that. I also got caught up last week through April 29th. I got caught up on Temperature Tree by Stitchin Mommy on Etsy. So I have everything through every leaf through April 29th caught up, and then that partial branch over there on this side is July. So I still don't have the July branch done, but I'm going to work on getting the last 10 days of leaves filled in and then probably finish that July branch because it's pretty dang close. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. Had some warmer days. The last 10 days will be interesting because we've been anywhere from the 50s to the mid 80s for highs. So there's going to be some different colors coming in, which I'm excited about. So I'm really like how this is turning out. This is 32 count platinum Lugana, by the way. This is what I'm stitching that on. So I really like that. Really like that fabric. And then the other thing that I was working on a ton was the Linens and Threads 2020 Friends and Family Stitch Along. This one I'd gotten behind on because if you remember, I didn't stitch in March pretty much at all. And so I hadn't done the March portion, and then April came out and it was the huge Mama Jama motif that was like extra large. And so a couple, maybe almost 3 weeks ago, I had kind of kicked it into gear, and I got let's see, I got March done, which is those 2 half motifs in that little center or that little circle. And then I moved on to April, which is that big large motif. Oh, but it looks so good. And then May came out, and it's those 2 motifs right here, that one, and the little Celtic knot there. So I worked on this pretty much straight through for a couple weeks and got all of it caught up. I got the April one done just within a day or so of the May chart coming out. So I went right into May. So anyway, this is 36 count winter moon linen with Threadworx mint chocolate syrup thread. And I love the way this looks. It's so pretty. So I am caught up with that until June now. So that will go away. So that is what I've been working on the last few weeks. I've actually made pretty good progress on those things. There's a lot of things that I haven't stitched on that I need to stitch on. So I have some plans for that this week. But yeah, I feel pretty good about where I'm at on some of those things. I do need to get going on my Stitch 6. I don't have, I have a lot of work to do on that. That was my 6 projects that, we agreed that we were going to get done. I've only gotten one of mine done, and I really should, based on having one every 2 months done, I should have 2 done, and I don't. So we need to get going on those. And ironically, my plans for this week don't include necessarily working on one of those, but that's okay. Oh no, that's not true. It does. I lied. So my plans for this week: temperature tree, get the last 10 days of that caught up, get the July branch done, depending on where I'm at on stitch count, and if I can go further, maybe start the August branch, go from there. Today I'm gonna do, I have this last weekend stitch or magical stitches there was 10 prompts, 10 stitching prompts, and so far I've gotten 8 of them done. So I have today still to do. I have about 12 hours left to do 2 more. I'm not overly stressed about doing them, but if I'm going to stitch, I will make a point to try to get those in. I'm not going to do penalty stitches on any of it. I'm just, if it fits, it fits, and my plans make it so that they do fit. And then the homework for this week is 1,000 stitches pretty much on anything you want. So that's super easy. I like those kind of prompts. Those kind of prompts make it less stressful for me anyway. So I'm going to finish the temperature tree, or get caught up on temperature tree. I'm going to, for one of the prompts, it's that I have left is excuse me, stitch on a piece that is a stitch along, and so I'm going to work on Pumpkin Farm, and this is how far I'm at. This is a stitch along that Melissa and I did, and she is done with hers, and I have not even gotten past the first piece. So this 3-part series. So I'm going to pick that back up and work on that today, and then also I'm going to work on Mirabilia Mermaid. The prompt for that was the one with the initials the designer needed to start. So of course Mirabilia works because M is one of them. So I'm going to work on Mermaid, Mediterranean Mermaid. And oh, by the way, this Pumpkin Farm was on, it's on Color and Cotton 32 count Applesauce. So that's the fabric for that. Mediterranean Mermaid is on 32 count Shimmering Pool. It's fabrics by Stephanie. I've had this fabric for so long. I don't know if this is still a viable color for her or something that she has available, but this was a Stephanie fabric and it's called Shimmering Pool. So anyway, so this one fits the prompt for something to do with a lady, because obviously this is a lady mermaid, and it will fit no, that's the extra credit prompt that it'll fit. 300 stitches, I think, on something to do with a lady. So yeah, so I've got an extra credit prompt I can work this with as well. So I will probably do Pumpkin Farm first because I only need 100 stitches for that, and then probably pick up Mermaid. But and my goal is to work on those 2 pieces this week and get some progress on it. The Mediterranean Mermaid is one of my Stitch 6s, so that'll work out pretty well for that. So other than that, I'm just going to keep going with Stitch Appa Lee and do magical stitches as it works out. and keep plugging along. So yeah, that's kind of what my plans are. That's kind of what I've got going. I kind of a short video today, but that's okay. I'm pretty behind on watching Flosstube. I've been watching other things that are just, I've already seen reruns. I mean, I watch a lot of The Office and New Girl on Netflix. Community just came out on Netflix in March, and for those of you who never watched that show on NBC, it was with Joel McHale and a bunch of others. It was hilarious, and so I'm rewatching that on Netflix, and then I'm watching a lot of Dateline on demand. I'm about almost through with all the Datelines that I have on demand. So I have been watching a lot of that, which is kind of crazy, but there's a lot of weird, sad, scary people in this world is what I've found out. But anyway, it's been interesting. So other than that, just trying to, keep on going. I've got, yeah, I don't really have much else. So anyway, I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you're staying safe. I know there's a lot of states reopening. I hope you continue to keep yourself safe and do what's right for you. And I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye, everyone.